Hello everybody, welcome to Pedal to Metal. It's High Octane Thursday. I'm here at the Highland Speedway with the promoter Scott Kuhn. Scott, how you doing today?
Really good, Tim. How are you?
I'm fine. How's the season? We're sitting here today on a Wednesday afternoon watching it rain. Apparently that's kind of been the way the season's been going for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been kind of a wild year. You know, it's up and down. We're kind of at Mother Nature's mercy. As you can see right now, the track's got some water on it, but it'll go back down. Luckily, with this hot weather, they dry out real fast.
So, the few nights you've had run, I think you got probably about a half a dozen in when you should have probably had at least 10 or 12 by now, shouldn't you?
Yeah, and we're actually fortunate compared to a lot of the other tracks. We've had 2 rainouts, but I consider us fortunate for the nights we did get in. A couple of them, the weather wasn't perfect. You know, the night before Mother's Day, it was really cold, kind of hurt the crowd a little bit, but, you know, take the good with the bad.
How's your car count been, and how's the racing been going then otherwise?
It's been real steady. You know, we'd like to have a little bit more time to work the track the way the weather is. The nights we do have raced, it's like we got to wait till the last minute, waiting on the track to dry out and stuff like that. We usually like to start our week a little earlier. Like tonight, we would have liked to have been grading the track, but that's kind of that's out now. But we'll get it tomorrow night, and that still gives us plenty of time to get some water on it for Friday.
You know, that's been a big problem with you. You've actually only had a limited amount of time to actually prepare the racetrack, haven't you? Where you normally like to work it on through the week and on the weekend on a Friday night. You haven't had that luxury this year, have you?
No. In fact, last Saturday we didn't get on the track till noon, and that's a little bit scary when you're racing that night. You know, when you first hit the grader at 12, and then trying to get a little water on it after that. It makes the night tough a little bit.
Well, when you're the only track actually running and you'll take the chance of trying to get a show in, people have to be tolerant of you taking on that big job of trying to get the show in on a night like that.
Yeah, it's you know, and the crowd's been good. The Saturday night was probably our best crowd of the year, so we're really happy with that. But yeah, we'd like to. Seems like when you get a little bit more control of the track, you can make it a little bit racier than we. I mean, you know, it hasn't been bad, but we'd like to be able to control our own destiny.
Well, you know, and that you could just let it go. I mean, you could just go ahead and tell them to go race on it, boys. There's your track. Live with it the rest of the night. But you're, you know, spend money out of your pocket trying to make it racier for the features, and that's something the fans, you know, even though they don't like always seeing the graders run around the track for a half hour or so at intermission, it's something that you've been doing to help try to get the track so it's raceable for the guys and put on a good show for the fans. And we're hoping, I guess, or you're hoping that the fans understand that when you do take that extra step.
Yeah, you know, we're still learning the process. We'd like to get that down about another 10 minutes. I mean, everybody takes a 20-25-minute intermission anyway, and it's taken us 35 minutes or so to work the track. So if I could knock another 10 minutes off of that, or that means buying more equipment or whatever we got to do, it definitely makes the features more racy. Yeah,
people don't realize that the intermission is not just necessarily to get the track in shape, but you guys that are out there in the infield, and your ladies that are in the scores booth, and your announcers, they all have to take a pit stop themselves. So you know, people work their regular job. They work a 2-3 hour shift. They get a 15-20 minute break. So you know, besides that, when the girls come back, they still have to get the lineups ready for the feature. So you know, they need a little bit of time to get all that together. It's almost impossible to run it right from the heat races to the features.
Right, and you got to give guys a little bit of time to work on their cars and stuff too. That's probably the biggest thing. Is you don't want to be completely rushed. You know, if you ran without an intermission, which I don't know of anybody that does, but if you did, you'd have guys that wouldn't make the show because they wouldn't have the cars done in time if they had any problems.
You know, a racetrack like this, especially where you got 11 o'clock curfew, it's you know, you got that staring you in the face, even though you're taking 30 minutes to get the track in shape. But in the long run, you're probably saving yourself a lot of time, because if the track was rough, you'd probably have a ton more cautions, and it doesn't take but 10 cautions to lose your 30 minutes again that you already have.
Yeah, that's something we're working on too. You know, we talked earlier about the tires and stuff like that. That's one of the problems we got. I like the big tires that are soft and light. The problem with them is the cars knock them out in the track, and we have way too many cautions for that. So we're going to try something a little different there this week, too.
Well, it's a learning curve, and you're doing a good job of trying to listen to the racers, plus sit back and evaluate everything. And I'm sure everybody and their brother, including myself, have told you what they thought that needs to be done. And so, you know, you're doing a good job of evaluating what everybody's telling you.
Yeah, it's a lot to filter in, but yeah, I listen to what everybody's got to say.
Yeah, that's good. Well, we got you here tonight. We were going to talk about the big weekend you got coming up. You got 2 big shows here in less than 5 days, don't you?
Yeah, we're really excited. You know, we got never done that before, where we had 2 big shows back to back, and we got a Midwest Monster Series this Saturday, and that'll be a big show for us. And then on Wednesday, next Wednesday we have the Tri-State Challenge, which is actually it's comparable to some nationals, and we'll have a bunch of heavy hitters here the next few days.
On Saturday night, that's actually probably the old Northern All-Stars, I guess is what it is. It's basically the one that, and for the life of me, I can't think of the gentleman's name that started that originally, and he's passed on, and UMP's kind of taken it, and Bob Sargent's worked with it too, and they've still kept the Northern All-Stars line, but they call it the Midwest Monster Challenge, and you're working with probably most of the Midwest UMP tracks on that. It pays points. Jason Fager right now, I believe, is leading the points in that series. So, it's drawing some big names in itself, and it pays something for them at the end of the year. So there'll be some big cars for that. But it's nice about it's a $2,000 win for you guys that pay out here at the Raceway, and you're still your local guys have a good chance of competing and racing and making some money on that night.
Yeah, we got. There's several cars here that are capable of running with any of those guys, and it's real exciting. Chad Zovers, he's been on fire this year, and I'm sure there's a good possibility he could win one or both these races. So could Mark Faust, Paul Bailey. There's a bunch of them that are running really good. So.
And then you turn around and on Wednesday night, you said you got the Tri-State Challenge coming up, and that's kind of cool. It starts out at Macon, and we're the second stop here at Highland, I guess, right?
Right. Yeah, it goes from Sheps to Highland, and then to Paducah, which is Bob Sargent's track, and then Ray Marler's over at I-55. So it ought to be a neat little series. We're expecting a lot of cars for that.
Yeah, this actually started like a Tri-Track Challenge, I guess it was a few years ago, and now they've added Missouri and Kentucky into it, and added a couple extra racetracks involved with it. So it's called the Tri-State Challenge, but it pays $5,000 to win for the late model. So that's a pretty healthy, purse to pay off for you on a Wednesday night, and of course it'll be drawn in. And what's going to be nice about the whole deal is that the guys will be here in this area with the big race they got out in Missouri, and then on the weekend, I guess Tri-City's got their big FedEx race. So those guys are going to be here in this area, so they don't have to wander off too far. Just find them a motel and stop in at Highland Speedway on Wednesday night and put on a hell of a show for you.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping. It's they'll all be in town, so it ought to work out real good.
All right, Scott. Big show Saturday, big show Wednesday, and then we're coming back the following Saturday night with your regular show again, right?
Correct.
All right, a lot of racing going on here at Highland Speedway. Scott, thanks a lot for taking time with us here on Pedal to the Metal, and hope to have everything up, some video up for the races on our website, allamericanracetalk.com.
Sounds good. Thanks, Tim.
All right, thanks, Scott. All right, we'll be back right after this. It's High Octane Thursday here on Max 96.7.